Hey, hmm, I think the software is working, but I need to validate that OBS is in fact doing its thing because, hey, it's been a while. How do you do, folks? Oh, let's see. Is this doing its thing? It's going to take a little bit, so. As you can see, I was trying to figure out what was going on with OBS. Da, 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 da. Let's make sure it's doing its thing. Let's make sure it's doing its thing. I feel like my audio could be better, actually. You know what? I should probably move the microphone a little bit closer because it's sitting behind my desk. I feel like my audio could be better, actually. You know what? I should probably move the microphone a little bit closer because it's sitting behind my desk. Eh, the microphone's not terrible. It's the first stream I've done in a while. So, Bambu Labs. I recently got an X1 Carbon from a good friend of mine. Um, I'll be probably doing some sort of video on it in the future because let me tell you, Bambu Labs gone to the dark side apparently. It's okay. The dark side has cookies. I would know. I'm a big, great, big fat man. We'll see if anyone hops in the stream. You're just kind of chilling out, making sure everything's working properly. What? Just so we're not sitting here and doing nothing for those of you who are actually watching this post live, let's talk about stuff. So, spare parts. Let's go with hot end parts. Because the first thing I really want to do with my X1 Carbon is make sure that it continues to work for a very long time. Because doing maintenance inside of this printer might actually be a pain in the butt. I've come to learn that anytime you have to do maintenance inside of a printer, I don't know why I thought my camera was over there when it's over here. I'm running on a really short cable at the moment. So the microphone's over there. Camera's over here. Anywho, I really wanted to make sure that when I use the printer, I have to fuss around with it the least amount possible. So, what I want to do is first take a look at the nozzle. And the nozzle has a few options. I was actually approached by Slice Engineering. They wanted to send me a review sample of their Mako hot end for the X1 Carbon. Not entirely sure how to feel about that. I've been doing reviews on this channel for many years, but I didn't have an X1 Carbon at the time, and they have this time frame they want it done in, and I like to work at my own pace and whatnot. Plus, I don't hold back in my opinions. When something is good or bad, I let you guys know. But it looks like it was a good enough hot end. It's just If you go with that hot end, you're stuck in that ecosystem. And that's what we're going to talk about today is the ecosystem of hot ends for the X1 Carbon. So there's a few options we can talk about. And hot end parts. Do they have? See, the weird thing is the nozzles for the X1 Carbon. X1C nozzle. There we go. This is the nozzle. Side of the screen. This is the nozzle, right? And for all intents and purposes, it's pretty good. It's combining a bunch of parts into one. So you got the nozzle, the heat break, and the heat sink, and a fan, all in a singular unit. Everything is very tightly compact. So when you want to replace the nozzle, you got to replace all of that. Now, you can order it as a kit that is a complete hot end, or you can order just the bare metal parts. And one's going to allow you to swap out your nozzle a little faster than the other. At these prices, it's pretty hard to complain. It comes with a hardened steel nozzle to begin with. Or at least mine did, I think. I've got experience with hardened steel nozzles, and I've got thousands of print hours on my Micro Swiss M2 hardened steel nozzle. But here's the thing. We can do so much better than just this. In fact, we can do so much better than this with an officially licensed product. Two of them, in fact, which is what the subject of today is truly going to be about, which is going to be the first upgrade to my X1 Carbon. It's going to be another nozzle. So, let's talk about that. X1C Obsidian. First of all, we've got to talk about the elephant in the room. Diamond! Yeah, baby. We got E3D's hot end for the X1 Carbon, and it is that special diamond layered sort of technology. I don't really know how to. It's like they 3D printed a nozzle out of diamond almost. It's a layer, it's a coating, right? But I think if I remember correctly, it's multiple layers of this coating all throughout the nozzle, so it's extremely wear resistant. That being said, a contender has entered the room. That contender is none other I am just getting the information over to you. The Diamondback nozzles. Again, it's diamond. This one is from, well, gosh, Diamondback is from that one company. I've seen them on Amazon before, like $100 a nozzle for just a normal nozzle. But this one, instead of being a coating of diamond, that tip is polycrystalline diamond, like solid polycrystalline diamond. That tip is never going to wear out. It is the hardest substance that we can think of. Diamond is also incredibly thermally conductive, which means it's perfect for this task. The only downside is being an insert. There's always that question of will the insert ever pop out? That's kind of sketch. With the obsidian nozzle, you don't really got to worry about that because its coating goes throughout the entire thing, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So, which one do I go with? That is the question. Well, the Diamondback is 125 pounds. The Obsidian is 60 pounds. Huh. And yet, there's still other options to discuss. That is the problemo, because now we got to talk about, let's go talk about that Mako hot end. Oh, and by the way, these nozzles, because they're diamond, apparently they increase the flow rate. Well, actually, I don't even think it's just because it's diamond. I think it's because they have CHT technology. So core heating technology, where it splits the film into the three pathways and then combines them back into one in order to increase the flow rate. But one of these ones increases the flow rate by like 40%. Is pretty amazing, actually. And all you got to do is adjust the flow rate setting on your slicer, from what I hear. Lois engineering. So, what's so great about slice engineering then, huh, bud? Well, Slice Engineering has their claim to fame as a one handed nozzle change. So, if we look here, you actually do have a removable nozzle. So, instead of replacing, no, I don't want your 10% off discount. So, instead of replacing the entire hot end, essentially, you can go back to just replacing a nozzle. And yet, we can still do better, I think. The Mako looks neat. It's $100, which, you know, here's the thing. Let's look at compatibility, right? Where do you get Mako nozzles? Probably from Slice Engineering. Let's see how much a nozzle is. Extruders, all print heads. P1P. See, it's not even out yet. Let's see, Gamma Master handles flexibles to carbon fiber, CHT. Highest floor is Diamondback, Maximus. Oh, okay. Okay, you can get this with a. Oh, $200 dues. Interesting. Okay, so you can get this in a Diamondback configuration. But here's the thing. Unless you're changing the size of the orifice on that nozzle all the time, a single hot end with a 0.4 millimeter nozzle at the speeds that an X1 carbon goes at, not really sure. I feel like much needs to be changed about the hot end. The only thing I can think of is, when you're going through filament and you're going to go through a lot of filament with that X1 carbon, that thing goes like a rocket ship. Is you're gonna wear out the nozzle. Had a phone call. So, anywho. So, if you're going to be wearing out the nozzle all the time, then yeah, switching out the nozzle makes sense. But if you have a diamond nozzle, come on, you're not going to be wearing out the diamond nozzle anytime soon. But that brings me to yet another option is why would you go with the ecosystem that Slice Engineering is developing see when you want to change nozzles? Don't think that the Chinese market has forgotten about their upgrade path, because BICU has their hot end, and I'm trying to get there. We go. Check this out. It's a Revo hot end. So Revo, once again, one-handed nozzle changes. That's kind of what the Revo is known for. You can get the Obsidian nozzles for a Revo. The ecosystem's pretty well known. It's pretty reliable. People seem to like it. I've never personally used a Revo hot end. But if I had to choose one, the Revo hot end is at least pretty well known. Just, I don't know why I would go with Slice Engineering's version over E3D's Revo version. Now, granted, do we have any official hot ends that use Revo technology? All right, I'm reading some reviews from the X1 Carbon website. And this guy says, if anyone's wondering, the Revos for the Bambu X1 Carbon are perfect fit, no mods needed, and work great with one issue. The really tiny and really large Revo nozzles are not in the Bambu firmware yet, so you get the nozzle. Does not match error when printing with special sizes. But standard size, this thing flies with such a large flow rate. Very impressive. Oh. Interesting. I'm looking at a different screen. Huh. The decisions are quite massive. And yet, we still have other things to talk about, like the extruder. Because the extruder that comes in the X1 Carbon is plastic. You can get hardened steel extruder gears for the X1 Carbon, which is yet another upgrade that I'm going to want to do. Because if there's anything I've learned from my Ender 3 over the past few years, is that doing maintenance is annoying. Anything I can do to reduce the amount of maintenance required, that's what I'm about. Anything to make my life easier and less complicated with a machine that I will be using for quite a lot, well, it'll pay for itself. Speaking of those extruder gears, let's talk about extruder gears. X1C extruder. Hardened steel extruders. I wonder if mine already came with one. It looks very similar. Mine has the yellow gears too. But this is the business, and oh, interesting. This is helical. You know what really got me is just how tiny everything is in this printer. Like everything is super compact to the point where servicing components at a very small level where you're like getting at the nitty gritty of the tiny components. Like if I wanted to change a bearing on this extruder, I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty annoying task. But, people have said they've ran their systems for thousands of hours without issue, so maybe. Maybe I'm just used to dealing with really low end Chinese garbage and making them work a little better. It is definitely a sudden juxtaposition in my life to have one, a heavily modified Ender 3 that started out as a stock printer, and then two, having a very well engineered printer that just kind of works. I haven't had any problems with the X1 Carbon. So it's just like, you can think about it like, hey, if it's not broke, why are you trying to fix it? Well, that's the thing, is it's not broke yet. Everything requires maintenance. That's why they include lubrication of sorts in the package. They give you white lithium grease. Uh, so that's the dealio right now. Is the Bamboo Labs just works, but it won't just work forever, right? So we gotta think about that long term. But yeah, so I just wanted to make this video because I haven't made a video in a while, and I thought maybe I'd do a live stream because there's it's a lot of things to talk about, and it's not really a coherent conversation, and I didn't really know where to start with this printer. So I figured I would start and ask you guys what direction you think I should go for this printer. Should I go with the Obsidian hot end? Should I go with the Diamondback hot end? Is the Mako worth getting instead? What about the BICU one? It's using a Revo. Or is there one completely different that I didn't happen to go over that you think I should look at? Let me know in the comments what you think I should do. For now, that's going to be it for this live stream. It's just a short and sweet, kind of general conversation about the new printer. Until the next time, I will see you guys later. Remember, measure twice, print once.